This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, I mean, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's Rudy Gay checking out Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBRPA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz, TalkinHoops.com, AJ, Kyle, Mark, Strickland with you for the show. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. Coaches, 3 of them have been let go, relieved, retired. We got all that. Mike Woodson, the Knicks, Carmelo Anthony, more on that. The playoffs, Kevin Durant having a night yesterday, but he didn't get the win. Could have been one of the greatest shots in NBA history, but they didn't get the win, so kind of doesn't matter now. All that and more, guys, getting right into the show. Carmelo Anthony was not wearing a Miami Heat hat today. Let's just clear that up real quick. All right, Strick?
Yes, he was. I want to officially start off the show by saying, AJ, thank you for my nice little camera here.
That you're not using.
That I know can't use it on this computer because it's built in. Sorry, but I'm going to get me a new computer this week, and I will be using it.
No,
You're not going to thank me?
It's going to be big.
You're not going to thank me?
You didn't get the camera.
You sent it too?
No.
Yes.
No, he didn't. I
want to thank you for wearing the same hat that Carmelo had on today doing his final interviews with the Knicks. Yes.
Maybe,
great hat, Kyle. Great hat.
Maybe he's supporting his friends.
Yeah, probably.
He's not going there, so
yeah.
You could wish.
Maybe.
If Melo goes there, who do they get rid of?
They can't.
CB.
You think so?
Oh, damn. You're going to throw away Bosch just like that?
I wouldn't want to, but hey, that's the only person that I see that can get. They're not going to get rid of D-Wade. That was.
He's got to opt out. They can all opt out after this year.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, everybody can go.
So, we'll see.
They're not.
No, I don't even think they're leaving. I think everyone's staying. Even Chris Bosh hinted a couple times that no one was going anywhere. He didn't say it was set in stone, but he kind of hinted at that.
Look, as long as they're winning, then they're not going to move anybody. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What did I say about Paul George? Danny Granger.
Yeah.
What happened with Danny Granger? Yeah, I vote for
last night.
You don't matter to the team. As soon as Granger went, they became like the best team in the league.
That's true.
Yeah, one thing Kyle was right about.
You got that off. You got that off. You got that one off.
That's right.
Straight, the one thing. That was the one thing he was right about. Let's just face it.
One thing. All right.
Whatever. We'll give that to you. How about the coaches? Let's go to the coaches here, all right? Let's talk about the coaches. Mike Woodson, fired. Ty Corbin, fired. Rick Adelman, retires. What do you think of all this?
Rick Adelman retiring is noble. I mean, it was time, man. You know, he's probably stressed out. He's been coaching since Terry Porter, Portland against Michael Jordan days. So, I mean, it was time for him to retire, enjoy the rest of his life. He had a good run. Ty Corbin and Mike Woodson firing was, I just don't think it was fair. We got a guest on today that's going to explain that further about how this guy got the Knicks. Talking about Woodson got the 3rd best record on the past.
Wait a minute, you saying that Woodson shouldn't have been fired?
Oh, he should not have been fired.
So if you're in New York, there's a certain standard that you have to live up to. If you're not living up to that, then you got to go. Right? There's no time in New York messing around with losing records.
Need to shake up some of them players with no discipline on the team, and
that's his fault. He's supposed to instill the discipline.
Yeah.
Sometimes that don't work. It's the modern day NBA.
Look, I don't think Woodson was the perfect coach, but I don't think this was his fault by any means. His record with the Knicks, 109 and 79, I don't think he should have been fired. And they finished the season again 16-5, healthy. for the most part. So again, I don't think it's Woodson's fault, but I understand Phil Jackson coming in.
You gotta shake things up. It's just all a political move. You have to shake things up when it's going that bad. You have to.
You need new voices in the locker room. They weren't responding to Woodson. All right, and also what I've noticed from watching Knick games is he doesn't make in-game adjustments. He just doesn't. If something isn't going well, it doesn't matter. I mean, look, he didn't play Bino Udrih basically the whole season unless there was injuries. What did he do yesterday? Did you guys catch the Grizzlies game?
Yeah.
He scored 14 off the bench against the Thunder. And here's a guy who couldn't even crack the Knicks rotation, who's arguably one of the worst teams in the league. He couldn't even get on the court. But yet, he goes to a playoff team in a playoff atmosphere and drops 14. I don't think Woodson had a clue of what he had. I really don't.
Well, sometimes nobody knew who he was, though, on the Oklahoma. He probably wasn't even in the scout report.
I gotta bring this up.
He still did what he did.
Yeah, he did good numbers, but, you know, I mean, y'all got all the talent there. You got J.R. Smith, you got Junior playing well, you got all these players, so how's he going to get minutes in front of these players?
Look,
you got to recognize the talent you have.
Before we go with this, the Memphis Grizzlies game last night, I listened to Kyle just make fun of the Grizzlies offense for like 5-10 minutes on the phone. That was all happening last night. Kyle was just ripping the Grizzlies coaching staff and just saying they should have called timeouts. It was poorly executed down the stretch. They never went to Zach Randolph, which is all very true. For once, I was agreeing with Kyle. I was, you know what? He's got this. All right, he's right about this.
Kyle got 3 arms.
Yeah.
That's my new trick.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, I want to say the Grizzlies game last night, Kyle was right on the money. I think if the Memphis Grizzlies have any chance of winning this series, they really got to learn how to adjust their offense and do something and keep going to Zach Randolph. That's got to happen.
Should they coach be fired? That's in-game adjustments.
I'm sorry. I had to bring that up.
Not winning the game, though.
I had to bring that up. But
here's what I was saying about the Grizzlies last night.
Okay.
It's like no sets were being called. You had Marc Gasol setting the screen for Mike Conley at the top of the key, and then that was it. Mike Conley would run past the screen, and then everybody would just be standing around. The way Zach Randolph was playing last night, I would have fed the ball to him all game. He was unstoppable even against a guy like Ibaka, who is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year. And if he's going to work like that on Ibaka, you just got to give it to him. Nobody else should be handling the ball. But the Grizzlies, they really escaped. The Kevin Durant 4-point play would have probably went down as the greatest shot of all time in the playoffs had they won the game. Kendrick Perkins had a shot in the fourth quarter, which is just as rare as a 4-point play because he never scores. The Grizzlies really needed that. If they dropped that game after being up in the fourth quarter, they would have lost the series. But what did I tell you? I said the Grizzlies could beat the Spurs. They didn't end up playing the Spurs in the first round. And I told AJ this last night. They can take the West. The Grizzlies have enough momentum on their side to take the Western Conference. You can make all the faces you want in the world. They didn't change the fact that they have probably the best center power forward combo in the league. I think they're better than DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. They're better defensively. They're better rebounders. And they just work better.
All right.
And you're shaking your head, but they're that talented.
Clippers are more athletic, and they're faster, and they're younger.
They got to get past the Warriors.
They will get past the Warriors. I think it says the Clippers are ridiculous. I see that's the team behind the Spurs that I'm most worried about is the Clippers. I think the Clippers are going to give the Spurs a run for their money.
Because they're starting to tune in defensively.
Yeah, but they also are so deep. I think last night their bench just took apart the Warriors, and I think that shows you how deep they are. Danny Granger, who
now Danny Granger's the first
just saying he played well. All right, I give it. Look, Danny Granger played well. Hedo Turkoglu played well. Who was Glenn Davis played well. All these guys played really well for the Clippers last night. So, yeah, I think they're a threat because they're just so deep. Like the Spurs, they're a deep team. They're deep.
Two takeaways from that game was Steph Curry came out flat and didn't really come through the whole game.
Right.
I think he and Draymond Green were like the only two guys in double-digit points for them. Steph Curry's, they obviously go on Steph Curry. He's got to come out firing. He's got to shoot and make them go over screens instead of under screens. He's really got to take control of that game. That's for that. And the Clippers, I think, for the Warriors, they need really more production out of their bench. And for the Clippers, what I found really telling was that Darren Collison was in late in the game and not Jamal Crawford.
Right.
Okay, Jamal Crawford for a long time was their guy. He got hurt, Darren Collison stepped up, and Doc Rivers stuck with Collison for a lot during the first game and in the second game also. So it's going to be interesting to see how he manages Crawford and Collison on the court.
Now, we've been talking about in-game adjustments. You're hitting Mike Woodson for not having in-game adjustments. Doc Rivers was brilliant last night. His team wins by 40. Jaeger, right? Jaeger, however you say his, I always forget this guy. Because he's like, and that's just it. How many random coaches are now, like, coaching teams that you've, like, never heard of? Like,
he's not random. Why is he random?
I'm just saying, like, how many times has he been a head coach his whole career, Like,
that doesn't make him random.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of, in my opinion, he's random, okay? We're talking from Rick Adelman to who?
If I was coaching the Grizzlies, that would be random. Not a guy with qualifications to coach.
Look, he may have qualifications, but at the end of the day, he's still a random coach in the NBA right now, okay? If they win, no one's ever heard. No one's going to go, oh, yeah, by the way, who coaches the Grizzlies? What's his name? No, that's what I'm saying. But he didn't make the in-game adjustments yesterday. They're lucky they came out with the win yesterday, to be honest with you. They're really lucky.
They are very lucky. They did not execute very well. And what I was saying also last night was, outside of that Kendrick Perkins basket, I can't remember one Thunder player who made a field goal in overtime or in the fourth quarter. It was all Durant and Westbrook. And if that's the case, what I would have done was I would have just sent 2 people at Durant every time he touched the ball.
Right.
Left one-on-one coverage with Collison, with Westbrook, and made somebody else beat me. Either Ibaka or Collison. Somebody is going to beat me.
Right.
Not Durant or Westbrook. But he left one-on-one coverage. He put Tony Allen on Kevin Durant. And look, Tony Allen is a great player.
Great job, though. He did a great job.
He did a good job. But Durant still had, what did he have, 35, 30-something? Durant, you got to double team him.
How many shots Durant take last night?
You got, I don't know how many shots. He got his points.
All right, wait. This is the point I want to make here. This is what I'm saying. You talk about in-game adjustments. You're big on the in-game adjustments. Woodson didn't make in-game adjustments. This kind of goes back to what Mark and I were saying, though. Woodson doesn't have the team because Memphis did not make at all good decisions yesterday. You said the coach should have done this, the coach should have done that, and they managed to get wins. The Knicks, they don't manage to do that. You know why? Because they don't have the talent. The Grizzlies are a very talented team.
You have to be insane to say that.
No, I'm not, because they're a very talented team. And what Mark and I are telling you is the Knicks don't have talent. How do you blame Woodson for that? They got Carmelo Anthony and a bunch of guys until the last 16 games.
First of all, it's not a bunch of guys. Tyson Chandler won the Defensive Player of the Year last year.
A lot of people
Carmelo Anthony is arguably a top 5 player in the league.
And
they're not a bunch of guys. I don't know. J.R. Smith won 6th Man of the Year last year.
Right.
I don't understand. You got all these guys with all these qualifications, and because the Knicks didn't play well, you're making all these excuses. Look, every team had injuries, so you can't use that as an excuse.
I'm defending Mike Woodson. That's all I'm doing is defending Mike Woodson.
Though. There is no defense. He got fired, obviously, so I'm not the only one who feels this way.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of coaches that don't make in-game adjustments, but you're going to tell me the Knicks don't win because of that?
Because they had to make changes.
But you're saying 2 different things. You're saying that they didn't have talent, and then you're saying that he didn't make in-game adjustments. So which one is it?
No, what I'm saying is, you're saying he didn't make in-game adjustments, but, they don't have the team to do that. They don't have – it's not like the Grizzlies where you just leave your guys down.
Their third-string point guard dropped 14 points in a playoff game. What don't they have?
They got Raymond Felton. Right now.
I'm saying the Knicks' third-string point guard, who was Bino, had 14 points off the bench.
Right, okay, well, they didn't.
So you're saying they don't have the talent, yet their third-string guys are producing for other teams.
That was one game.
14 points in 14 minutes.
All right.
Against the Thunder.
Never have 14 points again the rest of the season.
That's what I'm saying. It's one game.
But he won the game. He helped win the game for them.
That's one game.
That's one game. That's one game.
Well, you need to win 4, so if you win 1, you're a quarter of the way there.
Oh, my God.
You got 25% there.
Strick, you knew what I was getting at here, right? You knew where I was going with this, right? All right, thank you. I just wanted to make that.
One game.
One
game not important in a 4-game series? We have to win 4 games?
Sorry.
That dude probably never see action again the rest of the playoff.
He is. He's the backup point guard now because Nick Kalathis is suspended. So now he's the primary backup point guard.
That is true, but it doesn't mean he's going to have all these big games again. All right?
Not going to have 14 again. You know not going to have 14 again.
That's fine. He may not, and he may very well.
And let me ask you something. If he was playing so well, how come he wasn't in at the end of the game? Until how come the whole time?
How could you put a backup point guard in over your starting point guard late in the game?
They're struggling. You're talking about in-game adjustments. He didn't make any.
But they won.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Mike Woodson.
But the Knicks won because
what's name missed shots.
That too. Look, I was kind of rooting for the Thunder when Durant hit that shot because now when you think about it, it doesn't mean anything. That was like one of the greatest shots I've ever seen. And what does it go down as? Nothing. They lost the game. So it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just a highlight play, but it doesn't mean anything. And that could have been, like, if they won, especially if they won the series, that could have been a huge moment in
That's
NBA
what I said. I just said that 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, you know what?
That would have been the greatest shot of playoff history had they won the game.
Shot heard around the world, that doesn't matter. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, we're going to take a quick break. So I know Kyle's got some other things to do at the moment.
I do.
With his third arm.
My third arm, and I gotta go take a walk.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about Ty Corbin and.
Hey guys, let me know how that Danny Granger trade works out.
Yeah, the one thing you were right.
Make sure you guys discuss that in length.
Yeah.
All right.
Uno, one, the number 1. All right, stick around. Talking Hoops. One is more than you ever got. MBRPA Miami chapter. MBRPAMiami.com. Pretending I didn't hear you, dude. Pretending I didn't hear you. Be right back.
Don't foul out. Talkin Hoops will be right back.
I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's still you when I hate and couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CBS cares. The new free CBS radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Winds, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoops, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on TalkinHoops.com or YouTube.com/TalkinHoops. And don't forget to follow @TalkinHoops on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? Millions of healthy cats to choose from, it's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters. This bobcat, Debbie. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts!
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer.
My dream is to be a ballerina.
My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef, truck driver, a teacher,
a shoe designer,
professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from a foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, DJ, wanna talk more hoops? Bring the show in overtime. Check out TalkinHoops.com. Catch you on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoops. I'm 15 players in the team, 14 at home. Now here's the guy who likes to dunk on an 8.5-foot rim. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back. Talkin Hoops, TalkinHoops.com. AJ, Mark Strickland, where's Kyle?
He left, man. He left with his third arm.
Yeah. MBRPA Miami chapter, MBRPAMiami.com. Retired players, get at them. Check out the website. Learn all you can.
You got me real close up on camera one. Yeah, really close up. Look how close up I am. You got me with the Big Face Award.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Oh, I guess. I don't know. We're gonna adjust that right now, actually.
Big Face Award, man. Yeah, why you got me on the Big Face Award?
We're we're adjusting that. There
Cool.
we go. I don't know what happened. I guess
There you
Kyle,
go.
you know why? Because Kyle left us, of course. Kyle
Okay.
leaves and everything gets screwed up. But no, the playoffs, all right? Well, actually, wait. Before we get into the playoffs, I'm all over the place, Drake. Before we get into the playoffs, 2 other coaches got fired, not just Mike Woods. Well, one other coach. Ty Corbin got fired, and then Rick Adelman retired. We talked about Rick Adelman, which, by the way, did you ever meet Rick? Did you ever play for him or at?
I met Rick Adelman, yes.
You have. Nice guy, good guy.
He's a cool guy, yeah. Great coach, good guy. He's a cool coach, yeah.
All right, we'll go with that. Well, yeah. Well, he retired. I know his wife was had some sort of sickness that he had to deal with, so you know he couldn't continue, and still goes down. I think they said 7th or 8th. I'm pretty sure 7th all time winningest coach, most wins. So
great coach, man.
And
great
one of those
coach.
guys, he joins. I feel like he's in that Jerry Sloan category. Never won.
Yeah, he's one of those coaches, but no, under the radar kind of coach though. Never really, gets his props. Never really in the media a lot.
Right.
Never gets talked about on ESPN a lot. But he's one of those top coaches, man, that get a lot of respect from players.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously everyone, including us, wish him well. And if he does ever decide to come back into the NBA, he continue his win streak because his teams are going to win.
Yes.
And then, actually, where do you think this leaves Minnesota? Because he was a great coach, and you're trying to keep Kevin Love in town.
Maybe Terry Porter. Terry Porter was a head coach, and he was an assistant coach there.
Yeah, okay, but is he enough to keep Kevin Love? Is this guy, whoever they get, it's got to be almost like someone that Kevin Love wants,
Maybe they'll hire Mike Woodson.
That's another possibility. I've heard Tom Izzo and Billy Donovan, college coaches, talking about
Billy Donovan's not leaving, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, he once did leave and then immediately went back.
Yeah, he came right back because he's smart enough. He's in the best position he's in right now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we got all that with the Minnesota situation, and I think Fred Hoiberg was also a potential candidate, and he used to play for them.
Yeah, great coach. I love the mayor. Played with the mayor in Indiana. He was my teammate when he first came out of school.
Oh, there you go.
The mayor.
There you go.
Yeah.
So he's a potential candidate. I mean, they do have options. Then, believe it or not, your boy in Miami, Stan Van Gundy, could be a potential option.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to
take
it,
coach.
Though.
Yeah, he can hold it together.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to coach, though. He's been very happy doing the broadcasting. So
yeah.
That's another thing. Honestly, I kind of want him to coach the Knicks. I know that's kind of,
but yeah.
I like his style. I know he's like he's like me, Strick. He gets worried about everything. Something doesn't happen.
Yeah. He's a hard worker too. He's the only guy I know that can rebound for 11 guys by himself.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. So we'll see what happens with Minnesota, but then Utah, Ty Corbin. Do you think that was the right move to get rid of Ty?
I just think both moves were political moves. I mean, when you got a team that's losing, you have to make moves. Like certain teams have to make trades because you have to do something. The fans are going to start saying like, why aren't we doing anything? Why aren't we making any changes? So sometimes, man, you have to do things just to kind of stir up the pot and get a different mix going.
Right.
So I understand both sides, but being a basketball player, former player, and being around coaches and being a coach myself, you kind of know that a lot of things get blamed on the coach that shouldn't be blamed on the coach, and he gets a lot of fault for a lot of things. But that's the nature of the business, and you'll probably see Mike Woodson on somebody's staff for sure next year, for sure.
Yeah. Now, here's what's interesting to me. You just brought this up. We talk about that organizations need to make changes, and sometimes it just has to happen.
Yeah.
But in Utah's situation and in Charlotte's situation over the last couple of years, they went through a couple of different coaches, and it hasn't worked out. Okay, until this year. And people are, and I'm not saying Steve Clifford shouldn't be credited. We talked about it last week. He's definitely up for Coach of the Year, even though Greg Popovich won. His name was up there. It should be. The Bobcats are in the playoffs, 7th seed. I get it. But at the same time, Al Jefferson's up for MVP. So that's a big reason why Charlotte was good. I don't necessarily know how much coaching was because they didn't have Al Jefferson the last couple seasons. They didn't really have a great team the last couple seasons. So
that's true. Yeah, they didn't have a good team this season. When you got a guy like Al Jefferson, you can build around that. That's why he went there.
Right.
Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you need that different voice, and I guess he had a different voice, and it worked out.
Right, but you look at the Jazz. First of all, they're in the Western Conference. That's hard as that's hard enough to begin with.
Super hard.
Yeah. Second, your best player in that team is, I'm going to say, Gordon Hayward, being your best player right now in Utah. I mean, how much talent do they really have right now? They got a nice young core, but it's
really young.
Yeah, I feel like again they need stars. They need to figure out what they're doing. I don't think it was right firing Ty Corbin because of the team that they have right now. Let him play.
Figure out what they're gonna do personnel wise. You need to do some personnel changes first, and then see if you can fire it. If you change personnel and get you a couple of superstars in there, Ty Corbin is your guy.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly right.
Exactly. So, I mean, and it's a shame because Utah didn't finish with that great of a record. He may not get a head coaching job for a while. He may be in that like Michael Curry situation where he'll be an assistant coach, but it's just not going to work out. You know, it's not going to happen. And that's another guy players are really lobbying for in Philly to get that job, even though he didn't get it. So, but we'll see what happens with that. And then, of course, we talked about Mike Woodson. You know, look, I hate to talk about the Knicks all the time, but they are a big topic now, especially with Phil Jackson on board and firing the coach. And he said he's looking to replace this immediately, get the position filled so he can prepare for Carmelo Anthony's free agency and what he's going to say to him. And I think coaching change is big in this situation. What do you think?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, in that situation, I mean, everybody knows that Mike Woodson was to blame. He was unfairly fired. But like I just said, you have to make changes, and you have to kind of get ready for the Carmelo thing because he is a big key to the Knicks' success. I mean, whether he stays or goes is the first order of business, which it should be because you know which direction to go in for the rest of the players or the rest of the team, you know? Yeah.
And the one thing we got to talk about, how did you feel about the switching? You know, his defense is all switching all the time. Every player constantly switches. I know we talked about it early in the season when the Knicks were struggling, but that comes with Mike Woodson. That's his style. And he is, in a way, a system coach. Phil Jackson said he wants a system coach. That's also another reason why I didn't think it was fair Mike Woodson gets fired. He's got a pretty decent system that works for him. But
you need somebody to run his system. You know, Phil Jackson has that triangle offense. He has a certain way that he plays defense. And everybody's throwing Steve Kerr's names around, which played in the triangle offense. Who knows Phil has a personal relationship with him. So we'll see how that works out. You know, Steve Kerr has never been a head coach before. So had Mark Jackson. He came straight from the broadcasting booth, and he's done an excellent job in Golden State. So, we'll see what happens. He is a Phil protege, and maybe that'll work out. That's the guy that he needs. Or maybe Phil will do like a Pat Riley thing with Eric Spoelstra, just always in practice, being hands-on, kind of helping Steve Kerr kind of get the players to knowing the system and playing like he likes them to play, and then Steve Kerr get all the credit.
Right. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
All right, well, wait. So we talk about the triangle offense.
Yeah.
Did you ever play in the triangle at all throughout your career? Did you ever want to? Was it ever appealing to you? Is it?
No. I mean, I understand the offense. All it is you read the defense. It's all it is. You have certain things that you do when you see certain reads from the defense. I mean, you know, it's a lot of it's this triangle. You know, you can go to the post, you can pick and roll with it, you can go to the elbow. It's a good offense once the players understand it and you have the pieces to run that offense. But it never was something that piqued my interest. I was more of an energy guy, so I like to get up and down, catch the ball, do a lot of energy stuff like Dennis Rodman. But speaking of Dennis Rodman, he played in the triangle offense and still led his team in rebounds, and they won championships. So we just have to see. We'll see what type of personnel Phil Jackson gets in there. We'll see who he hires as head coach. Right. And it's going to be interesting next year. I just hope next year is a better year for the Knicks than this year because we really need them in the playoffs, especially for ratings, especially for competition during the playoffs. So we'll see what happens.
Heat and Knicks. We want those Heat-Knicks rivalries back. I mean,
got to have the Knicks in the playoffs. Yeah. Playoffs is not the same about the Knicks.
One thing I will also say, and it's unclear, Kyle and I were actually trying to figure this out. Herb Williams, I don't know if he's still there, if he got fired along with Mike Woodson's coaching staff because they didn't clarify. And they said that Mike Woodson and his coaching staff have been relieved. They didn't specify Herb Williams, but he is part of the coaching staff. I don't know what happened, but he's been with them forever. He's been with the Knicks since like Don Chaney, and he played for the team, obviously, but when Don
Yeah.
Chaney was coaching them, and it was Sprewell and Allen Houston. You remember those days?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Maybe he'll do a different job. Maybe they'll put him in a different position. Maybe they'll put him in development, and he'll be on the new staff. Who knows? It depends on who they hire as a head coach, because most head coaches want guys in there that they can trust. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, there were talks of even Frazier coming to help his old teammate Phil Jackson and be an assistant coach on the Knicks and things like that. I mean, that
would be really interesting. That'd be really interesting.
I think he'd be a great head coach for the Knicks only because no one knows them better than him. He's been calling the games and seeing what they need to do, what needs to change. When you call games for that long and you've just traveled with the team, you're seeing everything, what goes on in the locker rooms, and he's always pinpointing certain guys and what they need to do.
Yeah.
I feel like he'd be a great head coach for them. But, I mean, he's Clyde Frazier on TV. Everyone knows him as, like, the Knicks.
Everybody knows Clyde the Glide, New York.
The Knicks broadcaster, too. Everyone knows him as the voice of the Knicks. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. And now, last thing with Phil Jackson, the Knicks, and the triangle offense. He brought up something interesting, and I never really thought about this. Why, I don't know, because it is kind of – it makes sense, but I wanted to get your take on it. So after a shot goes up, he has 3 guys, I believe it's 2 bigs and 1 little, crash the board. And then he's got another big and a little running back on defense already.
Yes.
You agree with that? You like that?
Full balance. You have to have somebody back. Usually it's the weak side wing that gets back, but I think he's doing it where he has the 2 bigs and the 3-man crashing the boards. And the 2 and the 1 are getting back. The 1 will probably be up front because he'll pick up the ball, and the 2 will be back to guard the basket in case any leak outs or fast breaks until the big guys fill in.
Okay.
That's usually how we did it in high school. We did that for John Chaney. The 4 and 5 crash. The 4, 5, and 3 usually crash. The 2 and 3 are responsible for any leak outs or easy baskets before the defense gets set.
Okay.
So that's just basic basketball. That's just basic basketball.
Okay. So one thing he also talked about in the triangle is everyone touches the ball. So if you played in that kind of a system, don't you think your numbers would have been a little bit different?
Maybe. Depends on the teammates. If you're playing with Michael Jordan, no. In that triangle offense, if you're playing with Kobe, maybe not either. It depends. I never played in the triangle offense, so I don't know how well I would fare in it.
Right.
But who knows? I mean, it works. It works for Phil Jackson. I don't know. We'll see if it works in this day and time.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting to see with all the changes and the rule changes. So, the league seems like they want the game to be a little bit more up and down, a little bit more scoring, kind of like what OKC and most of the teams on the West Coast are doing. But we'll see how it works. We'll see.
All right, now let's flash back here. All right, you're in the NBA, you're playing. All right, let's have strict time here. All right, this is all about Mark Strickland right now. Real quick. How did you feel with taking jump shot? Were you ever a jump shooter?
Not in the NBA. Not in the NBA. I didn't get a jump shot until I went overseas. Because when somebody's paying you $1 million and they tell you to be an energy guy, you go in and be an energy guy.
All right.
Overseas is a little different because they bring Americans in to do a lot of the scoring, and if you don't score, they send you home. So I had to develop a jump shot really quick, which is just repetition. And then luckily I got a jump shot really fast, and I never really got released when I went overseas. But in the NBA, no, I wasn't comfortable with shooting jump shots. That's why I was pretty much an energy guy, getting easy layups, catching the ball off the rim.
Right.
I was one of those guys you didn't have to run offense for. You look up and I had 10 points just off hustle.
Right. See, I think here's the thing. Here's the way I always looked at it. And again, I didn't play in the NBA. I didn't know what you guys all went through. That's why I like to relate to you on it. But I see guys like Tyson Chandler and big guys that, they don't really have a jump shot. It's there. They're trying to. But and I know what you're saying. Guys, you're paid money to do a certain job, play your role, do whatever you have to do. Okay.
Yeah.
But when a big guy is on the floor and he's open, okay, why not shoot it? And what I'm saying is, you play basketball. Basketball, I mean, everyone knows what's basketball. The first thing you think of is shooting a basketball into a hoop. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Whenever you play basketball, even growing up before before the NBA, before anything, you were shooting jump shots, by yourself. You were out there. So you're definitely capable of shooting, whether you're not a great shooter in the NBA or not. You're wide open. You're wide open. No one's there.
But there's a saying: you're open for a reason because you can't shoot.
I mean, if you look at it like that, but I feel like I feel like
if I'm guarding Tyson Chandler and he's on the wing, I'm not guarding him.
Yeah, I got
because that's not his strong suit. He is a rebounder and a defensive player. That's why he got Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
He's not in one of the top scoring leaders. He's not, one of the options to go to on the block. He's what you call a facilitator. His job is to facilitate, get easy baskets, get rebounds, and move the ball to the people that can score. And when they miss, you go get it and put it in.
I got you.
Call role players. You have to have role players and facilitators to make the whole thing work.
Right.
Everybody on the team can't shoot the ball.
Right. Well, that's the other thing.
It won't work.
Some guys in the NBA where they play so well in college, and look at Jared Jeffries. I like Jared Jeffries for what he is in the NBA. He's a hustle guy. He's an energy guy. I get it. Okay, and not all his stuff show up on the stat sheets. Like, I got it, But he was College Player of the Year. Yep. How come he can't all of a sudden do half the stuff that he did in college in the NBA? I just don't understand it.
Sometimes it's different systems. Sometimes it's different personnel.
Right.
Same way with me in the NBA. I couldn't, shoot. I didn't shoot a lot of jump shots, and then all of a sudden overseas, I'm shooting jump shots, making mid-range jump shots, eventually making threes. Because I had the freedom to do so. Yeah. Maybe he went in and they gave him the range to shoot jump shots when he first got in the league and he wasn't making them. They was like, okay, he's not a jump shooter anymore. This is not going to work for us in this particular system. So we're going to have to find a way to use him, as a role player and as an energy guy, a hustle guy. So, sometimes your roles change depending on personnel, depending on systems. You never know.
All right. I'm gonna leave strict time at this. This last question for you, and then we're gonna shoot back to the playoffs here because there's some things happening right now. But overseas, when you're in the huddles, the coach, was it give the ball to Strick every time down the floor? Let him how did that work? What was the game plan overseas?
Usually overseas you have 2 or 3 Americans. The places I played, only 2 Americans could be on the court at the same time. 9 times out of 10, it was a point guard and a big, and we usually kind of controlled the floor of the game. And all the other guys were kind of facilitators. But every now and then you would get some of the dominant players in that country, and then you have some guys that could take over the game sometimes, which is a relief, because you don't want to be doing everything all the time. You need help. Everybody needs help sometimes. Just like we were talking about the 3rd string guard for the Knicks getting 14 points last night. I mean, he got an opportunity and he took advantage. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure the guys on OKC was like, okay, we needed this break because we needed somebody else to kind of pick up the pace and score for us at that time. Right. You never know. It's just being ready for your moment.
Right. Well, Kyle's crazy because that's only
I'm
serious. That's one game.
We're gonna start calling him controversial Kyle.
Even if he does it for a second game, that's 2 games this whole season. I don't want to hear it. I really don't. I don't even care. It's still irrelevant to me.
We'll see what he does when they start putting his name on the scouting report.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll see.
Exactly. All right. So going through the playoffs, obviously Indiana, Atlanta. That game's actually happening now. Atlanta's winning again. Atlanta's up. God, the Pacers are just a team in disarray. It's
I don't know what happened, man. That might be one of the most devastating debacles in NBA history. Like, you play all season, you're one of the top teams, you're bragging all year and all off season about, hey, we get the number 1 slot, we would have won the championship. Then all of a sudden you get right to the cuffs of the playoffs and you just crack. That's unbelievable. But I really don't know what to say about that. I have no clue. None of the sportscasters that I watching the games understand what's going on. I mean, that, like I said, that's got to be one of the most devastating debacles of an NBA team in NBA history because they just went south fast.
Yeah.
Attitude started changing. Guys started arguing. Even the coach, when they interview him and ask him questions, he's so frustrated he can't even really answer the questions. Because it seems like he don't have a clue either. Because it's the same team, same personnel, same guys are playing, it's the same offense, they're playing the same defense. I mean, Hubert is supposed to be your difference maker, and he comes out and he has like 2 or 4 points the first game.
Right.
Like, you know, I mean, there's no answer for it. I don't know what's going on.
The other thing is, if the Pacers do actually get eliminated,
Yeah.
what's next? What do you do? What do you do going forward with this? If you're Larry Bird, who do you get rid of? Who do you keep? What is wrong? I think, first and foremost, the only guy that seems to at least be there is David West. He's the only guy, to me, that's still been consistent, that is trying to keep the guys together. He's the veteran. His game hasn't really changed through this drought. I think he's a lot. And you've committed to him in the offseason. So I think he's a lock to stay. And obviously you gave Paul George that extension. He's a lock to stay. You're not going to get rid of Paul George. But I think everybody else, including Lance Stevenson at this point, and Roy Hibbert, I think these guys are if the Pacers lose, they may look to make some big moves like that, a big change.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they know who the problem person is. You know, I'm hearing they're having problems in the locker room. You know, guys are fighting and arguing during timeouts. You just have to get to the source of the problem, which Larry Bird will, and then you have to get rid of that problem and then bring somebody else in there to kind of smooth over and get things back on track.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Pacers for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting this summer.
That's just it. Every team.
But then again, we thought that it was going to be a lot of trades, and it wasn't a lot of trades.
Yeah, no, that's
We
true.
thought it was just going to be blockbuster, trade after trade after trade, and then nothing happened.
In a way, a lot of blockbuster trades happened before the deadline. You know, Rudy Gay got moved. Okay. Like there was some other, like, just because they didn't happen at the deadline, there was some big names that got shifted.
Yeah,
you know,
there was some changes, but not like we thought. We thought it was going to be like an NBA shakeup, like I did. I personally thought it was just going to be a shakeup right at the last day. Last 2 days is just going to be players are going to be going everywhere.
Right. Well,
but that just didn't happen.
Especially in the East. In the East, because the East is so bad, I thought for sure all the teams were going to be looking to make trades and whatnot.
Especially the Knicks. We thought the whole Knicks team was going to be gone.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything.
Yeah, actually, they said Matt Barnes, when he thought he was traded to New York with Darren Collison, they actually held him back on a flight because they thought they were traded. So that came out. So that deal was almost done. Rumors had it that Phil Jackson nixed the deal because he wanted Shumpert. That's been like swirling. Apparently he likes Iman Shumpert. I don't know for sure, but that was reported by a lot of different sites. So, you know, who knows if Iman Shumpert's going to be there? But if he is, then at least we know that there may be some truth to that if he's back next season with the Knicks. All right, so. If the Pacers lose this series, I think it's going to be pretty easy the rest of the way for Miami. That's for sure.
They'll just cakewalk. They won't take it lightly. They'll beat Bobcats, and then they'll also beat their next opponent, and then so the finals will be the same. The finals will be when they really have to play, which is good for them because they need the rest. They don't need to be in tug of war, you know, tooth and nail type of games that gives them opportunity to rest. And it'll be better for them, you know, and it'll be a situation where they can be fresh to three-peat.
Yeah, and it's a shame that the Hawks are in the playoffs right now without Al Horford because I think they'd be playing that much better if they had him.
Yeah.
But credit Paul Millsap. I mean,
Millsap is a beast. Yeah, he came back and he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's taking care of business.
He's playing out of his mind.
He's taking care of business for sure.
Yeah, playing out of his mind. Okay. Yeah. All right. Another series I want to talk about. Dallas and San Antonio. Now, look, Tim Duncan, we knew he was going to be big in the playoffs. They've been pretty much resting him all year, not going crazy with his minutes, so he could play big minutes in the playoffs. Same with Dwayne Wade, you know? Like, there's no minute restriction on him anymore. Yeah. Tim Duncan had 26 points last game. All right? Yeah. I know he's the greatest power forward ever. I get it. I know he's going to go down in history as the best. Yeah. Okay? Dirk Nowitzki laid an egg. He had 11 points last game. I don't know. Yeah. That's got to change if Dallas wants to compete in this playoffs. And Vince Carter's got to be the Vince Carter he's been all season.
Yeah.
And I do think Dallas could win a game or two against the Spurs, but all that has to happen. All that has to happen.
I just think the Spurs have too much experience. They have too much cohesiveness. Just like last game, Dallas was winning, and then Tony Parker just took it over. Like, they couldn't stop the guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they just had too many weapons. I think that the San Antonio Spurs are going into it healthy now, which is a good thing. You know, Ginobili's healthy, and Tim Duncan is playing out of his mind still getting it done. The big fundamental. When you have those type of guys and that type of chemistry and a coach that knows everybody on the team, you have that cohesiveness.
Right.
You're hard to beat. Even though Dallas has a shot, but I don't think they're good enough as a total package to beat San Antonio Spurs. No.
Yeah. No, I agree. I told you the Spurs, in my opinion, are still going all the way. They're still going to win the whole thing. But one thing I want to say about the Spurs, and we talk about other teams like the Clippers that are deep. Okay, you got deep team like the Clippers got Danny Granger, the Clippers got Hito Turkoglu, the Clippers got Darren Collison. These are guys that are not seeing a lot of minutes that are now, come playoff time, they're gonna get some burn, especially if someone goes down. The Spurs, I think, are overlooked in the sense that their bench is underrated. And some of their players are underrated because they're not names, Patty Mills is a very good player. He's a very good player.
Comes in energetic all the time. Gives in a boost, make big shots.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about. They're a team that's always ready. It's always somebody they can put in to step up.
Right.
That's what we call a veteran tean. Right.
But what I'm saying, and you got even look at Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is not even like a big name in the NBA, but he's a guy that he's an underrated player. He's an underrated player. He's their future. He really is their future. But these names that I'm saying, they're not Danny Granger. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to even know who they are. No one's going to know who Patty Mills is if you don't, watch the NBA like we do. No one's going to know who Patty Mills is. But people know who Danny Granger is. But guess what? Essentially, they do the same thing right now for their teams. Both of them. They both give that boost that they need. And Patty Mills is very capable of coming in and being explosive and just playing all around amazing. So, the Spurs are
They like being underrated.
Very underrated.
Yeah, they like it. I seen an interview with Popovich early in the season and even last year. He was like, we like it like this. We don't like to be talked about. We don't like all the hype. All they do is go out and win games. They always got one of the first or second best record.
Right.
They're always in the playoffs. Nobody picked them to go to the finals last year, but they made it. Everybody thought it was going to be OKC again, and it wasn't. They're always right there. Every year.
Right. And then
they like it like that.
And then let's talk about let's go back to the East. Let's talk about the Wizards and Bulls. I think this series is going to be very interesting, and I do think Washington, this is great experience for them. This is great experience for John Wall. This is great experience for Bradley Beal. They could potentially be the best backcourt in the league in a couple seasons if the two of them stay together. But you look at Washington, and I just see they have that attitude, I think, right now, like the football team that won the Super Bowl, the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Right? Why not us? Why not us?
But I think they're Spurs where they're kind of too relaxed. Too relaxed on the passes. I think they're kind of once they wake up and realize that it's the playoffs.
Right.
It's the playoffs.
Right.
You got to play every play like it's different. It's a different brand of basketball in the playoffs.
Right.
Even though they won last game, I still think that Washington can take their game up another notch.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because they, as they in the playoff, they thinking it's a lot of their guys thinking, okay, it's just like another game when it's really not. Right. I think they're the most dangerous team on the East. That's the team I fear the most because John Wall is playing out of his mind. Can't nobody stop Nene when he's healthy. I mean, he's just too big and too gifted on the block. He's playing like an old Tim Duncan. Right hand, left hand hooks.
How about all of
offensive boards, Duncan?
How about all of the Nays experience, though, in the playoffs? I mean, this guy's been there a ton of times with Carmelo and in Denver. He has the experience for sure. So I think he's a great piece. And, look, he stepped it up. I think he's the key to them advancing, believe it or not, just because of his leadership, and he's been there. He's been through the grind. If he can get these guys to get up, like you said, in the playoffs, this is a dangerous team for sure.
Yeah.
And they got
he's clearly the leader in that locker room, for sure. I know he is.
Yeah. And look, they were down. They were down from the Bulls in that first game. They were losing. They came back. I mean, they have the pieces. And Trevor Ariza, another guy who's won a championship, he's been there. Him and Nene, I really think, are the keys to this team advancing or doing anything. But
the key to Ariza, when he's making shots, he plays with a different motor.
Yeah.
That's the key to him. Once he makes a couple of threes, big threes, then he has a different motor. I watched the Wizards a couple of times this year. And that seems to be his MO with Washington. You know, he makes a couple of shots, big threes here and there. Then he ends up playing with a different level of intensity on defense and attacking the boards a little bit more. He's definitely a key. He's won a championship. So, you know, him and Nene are probably the leaders in that locker room. But I know that John Wall is another voice in that locker room because he has a different motive. I mean, he's playing out of his mind, and he's leading that team. And I really do feel like they are the most dangerous team in the East.
So, who wins this series, Wizards or Bulls, right now?
I got Wizards. I picked Wizards before the series even started.
So do I. They're the team I'm playing. Hey, listen, next to the Knicks, man, I'm a Wizards fan. I'm a Wizards fan. Next to the Knicks.
They made me a believer. Yes, they did.
All right. I don't really think we have to talk about Charlotte or Miami because, you know, especially that Jefferson. I don't think we really need to even go there right now. But Brooklyn, Toronto. I like Toronto though coming out. I think Toronto's going to come out.
I like Brooklyn.
All right.
You know why? Because Deron Williams healthy. He is the key to that team. When he's playing well, the whole team plays different.
Yeah. No,
he's the key because he has an engine. He's always probing the defense, pulling back. I mean, I like the way he plays the game. I'm happy that he's finally healthy and you get a chance to see them play a little bit. Some of the other guys on the team really have to step up, but we'll see how they go age-wise as the series goes along.
See, and I'm just saying, you know, the first game of the playoffs, DeRozan just played terrible. I think that'll change. So
yeah, then you got guys that had jitters, you know, first game jitters.
Right.
Had to realize that it is the playoffs now. You know, you have that. You'll see things start to change, but each game, each team makes adjustments. You know, you got a day or two in between. You have time to make adjustments, and we'll see what happens next game when Toronto and when they match up. Yeah.
And I'm not gonna make a bet with you like Kyle because you're running out of women over there to give up here. But I'm gonna say Toronto. You say Brooklyn. We'll see what happens, and then Portland and Houston. Let me tell you, that was one of the most exciting games all season. That last game, you know, everyone was complaining that Dwight Howard got fouled in that last play, but how about the traveling that they didn't call on him or whatever before that he got fouled? I mean, like Barkley said it the other night. The officiating, if they make a bad call, it always comes back the other way anyway at the end of the game. They always figure out a way to make it even. So, you know, yeah, maybe he got fouled in that play, but he also got away with a lot. So, you know, who comes out of this series?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Because I like Portland. I just think Portland just wasn't. I just think they don't have enough experience in the playoff yet. Yeah. I just don't think they do.
Right.
Man.
I mean, Damian Lillard played out of his mind, so I don't think that's gonna change. I think
he just plays one way. He's gonna get his numbers, but he's gonna need a little bit more help against Houston.
First playoff.
I mean, Houston's just a little bit more athletic. You know, you got guys. You got the shooter.
Harden.
I got Houston out of this series. I'm gonna pick Houston.
They lost by 2 points in overtime. Harden took 28 shots. He only made 8 of them. So.
Still got Houston.
Wait, while we're on this, I'm excited. You and your little KD hat, I'm excited about it. Wait, I gotta bring this up right now. Houston's one of the teams supposedly going to be clearing to get Melo to pair him with James Harden, Dwight Howard, and you know whoever else is going to be there. I think this is a huge mistake. I don't think it's going to work. I think Melo's going to be, and if he does go there, I think he's going to be very unhappy because James Harden is taking 28 shots a game. Okay.
He has to.
Right. So if Melo
he won't have to take 28 shots and Melo there, they'll split the shots.
And he's going to be cool with splitting the shots.
Yeah, he can pick his poison. It's going to be games where he's going to be hot.
Right.
There's going to be games where Melo going to be hot. Yeah. When he's off, you got somebody else to go to. Right now, when he's off, they don't have anybody else to go to.
Right. So
it's the same with the Heat. LeBron is never off, but
I'm saying I think Wade and LeBron move the ball. Okay, they don't just ISO everybody. They can play together. Okay, they alley-oop each other. There's things they can do.
That's my knock on Houston. They don't move the ball enough.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. You know.
Yeah, and you're right about that. They do not move the ball enough.
You're adding Carmelo Anthony. He's the best one-on-one player in basketball. One-on-one. Okay, maybe Durant's up there, but hey, Barkley calls him the best one-on-one player in basketball, so we'll go with it. Okay. Yeah. And now you're going to put him next to James Harden, who's also an ISO guy. He may be not the best one-on-one player, but he's also an ISO guy. It's going to be an ISO play. It's bad enough that Melo ISOs by himself in New York. Now you're going to have two guys ISOing every play down the floor. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
They're going to have to play a different way. They're going to find a way to kind of gel a different way because ISO is just not going to work.
And look, I don't think he's leaving New York, but I'm just saying they're going to be one of the teams trying to get him. So
we'll see.
We'll see. Another thing we'll see about, and we're going to leave off with this, Golden State and the Clippers. Warriors.
No McAdoo?
What's that?
No McAdoo?
No, we can't do it tonight. I got to edit all that. We can't
right,
do
cool.
Yeah,
okay.
That was my fault. We can't do that tonight. We can't.
Okay, cool. Okay,
but don't worry. Bob McAdoo, we got an exclusive interview with Bob McAdoo. It will be on the website. You can check that out. And actually, Strick, you were on your A game today, man. You asked some banging questions. So that was good stuff, man. You're moving up in the radio ranks here.
Trying to. I've been working on my craft lately.
Yeah, I like it.
Been doing more studying. Doing more studying like Kyle.
Kyle doesn't. Kyle's like sleeping half the time. Kyle doesn't study. We can't even go with that. He's got 3 arms now. I don't know who was even there.
I don't know what that was about. Yeah, we gotta get on. We gotta ask him about.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a girl, if it was a guy, and if it was a guy, I don't want to know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, last but not least, Clippers, Warriors. They got
the Clippers, man. Clippers are so athletic.
Yeah.
Oh, and they got so many weapons. The thing with them is, man, Chris Paul has to get off the ball sometimes, man. If he can get off the ball sometimes, stop all that dribble. Just pass the ball, man, sometimes. And then if they can buy into Doc Rivers' defensive scheme, which they're starting to do.
Right.
He's already got Jordan playing like he could be MVP to me. I mean, or most improved to me. I mean, he is hands down got to be one of the most improved players in the league. I like the way Griffin is now starting to become more working harder. I seen an interview with Doc Rivers says Griffin is just working hard, trying to become a dominant post player now with his post move, not just a dunker. I mean, you can see it in their eyes that they really believe, man. If they take care of all of the little things and start to clean up some of the little things, they can be one of the best teams. They can win the championship this year.
Can you believe that though? $16 million. Blake Griffin's making only $16 million a season. Crazy. That is a steal. Also, wait. Did you see his little water incident with the fan? Did you catch that?
I didn't see that.
Oh my God! Oh, I wish you told me this. We could have pulled it up, but you didn't see it, so you wouldn't know. He looked up at the scoreboard when he fouled out, and there was a Warriors fan standing like he was the only Warriors fan there by the table, and he's got a cup of water in his hand, and he looks up at the scoreboard, and it's like half full, and he's just. Oh, and the water just went all over the Warriors fan, and he doesn't even make eye contact with the guy. He starts walking away, and he just throws the cup right at him. Yeah, just throws the cup right at him. Doesn't even make eye contact with him, and the Warriors fan's like, dude, what the F, man? Like, whoa, really? It was hilarious. The fact that he just did that.
I'll pull that up.
Yeah, you got to look at that. That was crazy. Hopefully we don't have any coaches spilling drinks or anything crazy like that happening, but we'll see. It is the playoffs. Anything is possible.
Anything goes.
Yeah. All right, we got to start wrapping up the show. All right. Oh, man. Bob McAdoo, what a nice guy. Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoopz.com. AJ, Mark Strickland, Kyle.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors, and check out all our shows by logging on to TalkinHoopz.com.
Catch you on the rebound.